there, this is G from Outlier Automation. In my last video, I was setting up the IoT2050, an example image from Siemens, and in this video, I want to show some of the options for setup and default installed applications which Siemens put in their Debian Linux image. So let me go over here to my desktop and my SSH, which I have set up for the device which I'm connected to over Ethernet. If you don't know how to do that, please go back to my last video and connect here. Okay, so I'm going to go into my terminal here and type IoT2050 setup. And in here, there's a little app of a bunch of different settings. This is created for you to customize and do whatever you want with this operating system. There are kind of Arduino or Raspberry Pi style pinouts and peripherals on the hardware. There's a ton of different options. And so this is not just like a little dinky device with nothing to do. You can customize it to your needs, and that's what the intention is. So this is just super baseline. It's an entire operating system that is Linux based, and there's a lot that you can do with it within the confines of the processing power. So just to start off, the OS settings, this is pretty basic: change host name, password, time zone. Networking. On here, there are actually two different Ethernet ports with separate IP addresses. As I mentioned before, one is static IP, the other is DHCP. And you can add Wi-Fi, but it is based on the Debian image and the headers that come with the example image. So if you're adding a USB dongle, be aware that you kind of have to have something that is compatible. I was able to do it with a mini PCIe card, which is embedded on the back of the device, and you can actually pop in an additional card. Okay, go back here. So software, we're currently, by default, there's an SSH server. That's what we're in right now. TCF Agent is a debugging tool for embedded hardware. If you are in the embedded space, you probably know what that is. Mosquito Broker is for MQTT, so you could be communicating back and forth between different devices on the same network. And then Node-RED is a visual development tool for JavaScript in order to make little applications and run from here. So in my application, I actually use Node-RED in order to communicate with some PLCs that were on a serial protocol. Okay, and then finally peripherals. So we have external COM ports. There's a DB9 connection on the front. Obviously, if you're using the different serial standards, then there's different configurations. So for example, in 485, you can turn on a termination resistor, which depends on where the device is in the connection. And then finally, there is Arduino I/O. So on the back, there are a ton of different pinouts on this side here. I can't really show you right now because I'm still connected to it, but you can enable GPIO and all of these different connections here. So this is going to work exactly like an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi, and you could start to build up your own custom application. All right, so those are the basic settings. You can tell that I already had the Node-RED set up or enabled by default. So this is my SSH, and if you're familiar with Node-RED, it's actually a browser-based platform. So we can go to a web browser and go to my IP address, and the default port for Node-RED is 1880. And you can see here that I already have a connection to my Node-RED development environment. And if you go down to the left-hand side, there are, with this image, some nodes that are enabled to connect to MindSphere, which through this MindConnect, this Modbus read and write, OPC UA, and then actually S7 PLC reads. So there's already pre-configured to communicate with a bunch of different devices, which is great because it's an IoT gateway. And this Node-RED customization or custom app environment will allow you to build whatever you need. So here's just a little look of what is available by default on the IoT2050. Siemens is continuously adding functionality here, and in future videos I'd like to show a little bit about how to connect it to MindSphere and some of the quick setup that is available. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have fun playing with your IoT 2050. Thanks.